and start right at 3.
So Sunil sir, I will give you the cost.
Mm-hmm.
If there is any problem with me on the connectivity, especially the light, you can go ahead without me.
Okay. It is exactly 3. Now I'm starting.
All right.
Good afternoon, honorable speakers, Mr. Lilamani Pokhrel from Nepal and Mr. Tim Chen Tianji from People's Republic of China, my colleagues from Nepal Institute of International Relations, NIIR, the participants in the webinar, and viewers on live Facebook. I would like to extend my warm greetings and very good afternoon. I am Sunil Kumar Paudiyal, the General Secretary of NIIR, former Consul General and Press Advisor to the Prime Minister of Nepal. I am going to moderate today's session. We'll be here in this webinar for 2 hours divided into 2 parts. The first one shall be left for the speakers for the deliberation of about 20 minutes each, followed by question and answers as the second part. It will be concluded by the remarks of the chair of the session. I would like to request Dr. Rishi Adhikari, the chairperson of NIIR, former ambassador and foreign affairs advisor to the Prime Minister of Nepal, to chair the session. Mr. Adhikari, Dr. Adhikari.
Thank you very much, Sunilji. Welcome everybody. Namaste.
Namaste.
We have very important subject on discussion, and we have very good experienced speakers, and I hope it will be a very good learning session for all of us. Sunilji, you can go ahead with the proceedings, please.
Thank you, Dr. Adhikari. By the approval of the chair, I would like to formally start the webinar with short introduction of our organization, Nepal Institute of International Relations, NIIR. It is an independent, non-governmental, non-profit making organization established in 2019, getting registered at the government of Nepal with the objectives of doing research and conducting regular discussion forums on international politics, diplomacy, foreign policy, etc., to support Nepal government to adopt necessary steps to make Nepal's foreign policy substantial for the betterment of the country and people. Since its inception, it has already organized 19 webinars, the running one as 20th. We feel honored by the presence of our revered speakers. I would like to briefly introduce them. Mr. Lilamani Pokhrel is a popular politician of Nepal. He started his political career in 1972 as a party member in Central Nucleus. He became whole-timer member of CPN 4th Congress since 1977. He was elected president of all Nepal National Free Students Union 2 times in 1980 and 1982. He was elected Central Committee member of Communist Party of Nepal 4th Congress in 1985. He was an executive member in the movement organized by 4 communist parties and executive member of the steering committee of the movement jointly organized by 7 parties in 1990, which established multi-party democracy in Nepal. When CPN Unity Center was organized, he assumed the position of Politburo member. He became member of parliament 3 times and has been working as a standing committee member since 2009. He has studied master's degree in geography. Mr. Tim Chen Tianji is the General Manager, project director. He completed his bachelor's degree in telecommunication from University of HUST Wuhan, China, master's degree in electrical engineering from Changchun Optics Precision Mechanical Institute, China, and Masters of Business Administration MBA from Peking University, International MBA and Aviation Management EMBA from ENPC Tsinghua University. He speaks and writes English and Mandarin. He is experienced in general management, project management, key account management, system integration, and airport design management. He has been working as Vice President, International Business Development, AVIC KTN Airport Engineering Company Limited since 2014. He has worked as Project Director of Nepal, Kathmandu Airport RXY and TXY Rehabilitation Project, Nepal, Kathmandu Airport International Apron Expansion Project. He has also worked as Project Director in Sri Lanka, Liberia, and Angola. I would like to take an opportunity to highlight a brief introduction of the theme of today's webinar, the prospect and problems of foreign aid in Nepal. Nepal started to gain foreign aid since when she joined the Colombo plan in 1952. As India and the US shared more than 1/3 of the grants, they established their aid missions in Nepal. The missions thereby started to direct aid to special projects, keeping their upper hands in the concerned activities. Since 1952, as an official entry of foreign aid to Nepal, she has been gaining foreign assistance either as grants or loans from various countries of the world. The beginning of the national plan 1956-61 in Nepal was greatly dominated by foreign assistance. Foreign aid flows from one country to other, save other things like terms and conditions, to boost up economic growth through building infrastructure, upgrading technology, abundant utilization of resources, including capacity building. But the National Planning Commission of Nepal itself confesses that neither results as expected were achieved, nor sufficient resources could meet the targeted group, with very little achievements in few areas. The increasing trend of grant or loan would have never matched the economic growth of Nepal. This is a grave threat to Nepalese economy. There are several reasons we all know why no plans have made targeted objectives. The institutionalization of corruption, nepotism, favoritism, red tapeism, inefficiency, self-interest, lack of objective reality and or decision, and inheritance of the legacy of feudal thinking of Rana regime among the concerned authorities are the major reasons that we are far behind meeting our development status. Still, because of the commitment of non-alignment and emerging strategic place of Nepal in between two giants, China and India, there is sufficient prospect of foreign aid for her. But Vinod Bhattrai, a scholar in Nepali Times, 2 August to 8 August 2020 writes, 80% of the budget of a project under grant or loan is to pay for foreign consultants, 10% for project vehicles, and remaining 10% for actual operational activities. He further opines in a way that if aid or loan would have emancipated poverty, Nepal would have become, though not very rich, one of the rich countries by now. The nature has awarded Nepal with abundant natural resources, favorable soil, climate, and high potential hydropower, including very rare herbs hardly found in the other countries. If we harness them properly using modern technology, we can export them to the foreign countries to earn a large amount of foreign currency and open a high prospect of domestic employment. The only things that are lacking in us are sincerity, honesty, ability, as well as willingness of the concerned authorities. Instead of accepting aid, we should encourage investment in the form of joint venture, which can turn to be much beneficial to us. Considering all these, there are the following queries floating in our society, which our organization NIIR expects the reward scholars would satisfy the listeners with their viable ideas. Queries. What actually may be the intention of the donor to help the countries in need? Why do the donors spare their money? Is it because of love manifested to the recipient country? Can Nepal sustain without aid? Is it true that the corruption increased extensively as well as intensively after the flow of foreign aid in Nepal? Why does not Ministry of Finance try to ensure effective use of foreign aid, simply paying attention to regulating and controlling it? If a large amount of grant or loan is consumed by foreign consultant, is it feasible for Nepal to accept it? Is there any least developed country in the world which has tangibly benefits satisfying the targeted communities? What are the experiences of foreign donors and investors working with Nepali projects? What are the areas of strength and weakness of Nepali side to work with certain projects? These are some of the queries. The organizers are confident that the scholars would certainly furnish satisfying response to the participants. Again, welcoming you all, I would like to request Mr. Tim Tianji to deliver his speech. Mr. Tim.
Hi, hello. Namaste. Good afternoon, everyone. So, first of all, it's very an honor to receive the invitation to participating with this webinar. And I think from the photo you can see I'm quite a Chinese face. Honestly speaking, I was spending quite a long time in Nepal since 2016. And honestly speaking, after spending some times over there and executing some big national pride projects over there, let's say personally, I receive a lot of let's say experience. I share a lot of spirit from Nepal, and then I understanding much better, let's say about Nepal, about the country, about the people, compared with a couple of years ago. So today, for today's session, maybe I understand the topic is the prospects and the problem of foreign aid in Nepal. But from this background, and then maybe I, as a business people, what I first like to share some of my experience to, as a Chinese firm, working in Nepal on the infrastructure projects. So actually, luckily, then we have done a project last year in for the National Pride project in TIA, the Kathmandu Airport, the runway rehabilitation. So what I would like to share my screen to give a little bit, let's say the status report. Okay, a look at the result of the what have been done over there. Can you, the host, can the host enable to share my screen?
Yeah, please try again. I think you can do that.
Yeah. Yes. Here. So okay, maybe just to take a few minutes to explain about what happened last year in Nepal in the national gateway, the Kathmandu airport. Okay. So okay, you see this the Kathmandu is the capital of Nepal, and then there was single runway, and actually is the only international runway connecting with the rest of the world in Nepal. So the previous job is the previous airport was done for a long time ago, and what we have been done is now we signed a contract for the runway rehabilitation at the end of 2018 with the contract schedule to be finished by 540 days, supposed to be finished in May of this year, 2020. So overall, let's say the runway was 3 kilometers long and 60 meters wide, and there was some certain parallel taxiway, and then the taxiway A, B, C, D, and whatever. So the overall airport is really becoming quite busy one. So they are handling right now around 7 million passengers for Kathmandu airport. What we have Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So again, the final result is, so within the budget, 37 million US dollar, and then we have handed over the whole complete job at the end of 2019, which somehow around 120 days ahead of the contract schedule. So which we believe this is really a national pride project, and then it was never happened before. But this job was 3 months in advance to be complete, especially on the live airport. So within the work period, it stopped. So we only working in the nighttime around 10 hours from April to June, and then July to August, and then from September to December. So that's the working hours what we had. But luckily, under this big challenge, the whole runway now was brand new now already. So this is a little bit history from Kathmandu Airport. So we just skip to that. The last modification or construction is from 1975, but after some like more than 30 years. So from 2019, the brand new runway now is to start a new era for the aviation industry in Nepal. So this is somehow the scope of work. There were a lot of, the whole runway was completely done, including the pavement and plus the AGL, electrical work and drainage, everything. So you see, this is the really milestone, and actually this final success was definitely involving a lot of support from our employer, consultant, and then from CAN, Civil Aviation Authority of Nepal, and even the Ministry of Tourism and Civil Aviation. So look at it with this schedule. We're starting from November 2018, making all the official like pre-preparation, mobilization, and then the work was officially commencement on the 1st of April. And then by end of the year, on December, before Christmas, so the whole job was complete. And then at that time, everybody is happy because we are ready to heading for the Nepal 2020 visit. So, but unfortunately this year, due to these COVID issues, so this program doesn't happen. We feel very sorry about that one, but I mean, the infrastructure, the foundation for Nepal 2020 visit may be coming in the future, but the foundation is over there. So again, this the mobilization part we took us around 3 months time. Is a little bit very critical, and then this reflect something the road transportation infrastructure in Nepal. This later on I will show a little bit video. You could know this is one of the big challenge for the foreign company to do the business in Nepal during all these logistic issues. And then the key challenging of this one is, I think this for Nepal also from last 30 years is never happened before. We keep the airport alive and operating every day, but only working in the night within 10 hours time every day. So the key challenging of the whole project is now is a 10 hours working window every day, every night. And then also the high risk, this is the high risk project is because this is an airport. The flight safety is one of the key, the top one factors of the aviation industry. So out of the whole year, after this whole year work, so we have a 0 safety accidents, no people injured and nothing happened. So we're safely to finish the whole thing within last year. And another one is now because Nepal is a mountain country in between India and China. There were no harbor, no port. Actually, the only international gateway is this runway, and this is a single runway. So we have to maintain this airport still alive every day. So this is also one of our biggest challenge. And then raw material supply, within a short period, we need a lot of local raw material supplies to be sufficient and on time to be delivered and so on. As a newcomer, as a foreign contractor, somehow we are not very familiar with the local environment. But after, let's say, the very effective communication and build up all the local sub-suppliers, partners, so finally we managed to working with the local, let's say, material suppliers, the local company, and then to maintain the sufficient and efficient supply of the local raw materials. Okay, this is a little bit too technical. The key challenge for us is also of all the joins and exist situations of the current airport. There is not that many exist joins from the past available for us to continue the work. But overall, the key objective is we from very beginning we align with all the stakeholders, with the Civil Aviation Authority and with the airport and with airlines and the project committee office. So the four key objectives is finally all delivered. The first one is the project schedule. So politically, economically, we need to finish work very on time. So project schedule is 120 days ahead. And then project budget, there were no additional variation. There were not over the limit of the project budget from the government side. So the whole project was managed under the cost of the original budget limits. And safety-wise, there were no any single problems. And also, but quality-wise, this runway was fully IQ compliant. And then with this brand new rehabilitated runway, I mean, this airport can maintain for the next 20 years on this brand new runway. So you see this runway right now in TIA is completely not IQ compliant. And then this is give the guarantee for the future for all the airlines, even TIA, have a substantial development foundation on the aviation industry. One important thing is some of our experience from this photo. You can see there is, I mean, this not only a few Chinese on the picture. Is most of them is our employee, but original from local. It's a Nepalese, our local staff. So you see during this project schedule, and then we also learn something is somehow we're starting our internship program, not for Chinese students, it's for the local students. And we bring around more than 50 students from the college. Engineering major was visiting our site, working with our people, laboratory, and so on to have some real job training on site. And then we also do some supporting of the poverty employees' family and supporting some education program. And even the language class between our Chinese staff and then the local Nepalese staff. I mean, we also have the internship program and bring the students from Nepal University, the University of India, and some from China. So including on the management, engineering, quality control, quantity survey, and language course, financial, commercial, and so on. So this is really have a quite, let's say, international team among Chinese and local. So this is somehow, let's say, the success we had for this project. But overall, this success is not because of this contractor, how good of this contractor. So our experience, our conclusion for this one is the success is coming with, let's say, the joint efforts. I mean, the first thing is, at least our conclusion from the last year. The first thing is now to have a very, very stable business environment, which means a very stable government. So it's more actually starting from since 2017. So the Nepal government is becoming very stable until now. So this was really give a overall picture on a very stabilized business environment for the foreign companies, which we are very appreciate on this one. And then the second thing is now, I say, the success will coming from all the stakeholders. And then we find out is, so from the beginning, first 1 or 2 months, we also have some troubles and problems. But at the end, at 1st of April on 2019, during the commencement, actually among the authority and then the employer, consultant, and the contractor and everybody, we form up a common goal after kind of communications. And then we define the key objective, these 4 key objectives together, and we share that with all the stakeholders. And then this is really one of the things we believe is very important to communicating each other with local, and then define a common objective and common goal. And this is one of the key to start doing business in let's say for foreign company in Nepal. And then is during the whole execution, another experience what we have is, I mean, this the people coming from all the way around, and then but the intercultural difference is becoming quite critical. We have been talking with all the other Chinese company or even European companies and with local company and so on. I mean, what I feel is the intercultural difference is there, is the fact is there, but how to overcome this one, it really depends on very closely communication, and then to build up the trust first between local and the foreign companies and build up the trust in between. So, which means if you set a common goal, you have the mutual trust from different countries, from different cultures, and then in this case, so the things can move on. And this is really the benefits we get during our last 2 years in Nepal. And then one more thing I have to mention is now during the whole project execution, because there were two phases. During the beginning phase, our employee rate between Chinese and the local staff is somehow 70 to 30. That means 70% is from China. But on the second phase, after we get understanding the local environment, after we get trained our local staff, on the second phase, second half of the year, the employment rate for Chinese and Nepal is 30 to 70. It's totally opposite. So what tells us? What tells us is that means the local staff, the let's say, as far as you give a very clearly, let's say, training program, and then education in a good framework, so the local staff can learn and they can really perform quite well, which is somehow they have the capability to build their skill set. And then what I see is I have a lot of Nepal staff, local one, not only labor and skilled labor, even the students and then the engineers and so on. So as far as they are on track, they are they integrating into the management system, get some mentor, and then give them the time, and they can becoming very capable. And they speak local language and they are local. And then somehow at the end of the project, we have more than 70% of the employees is all from Nepal. So we are and very disciplined people and very kind. So we like that very much. So right now, this year, we even have some really excellent Nepal staff. We already employ them into our head office and then working in other countries outside Nepal to do the similar work. So this is, we think it is a very good part to in Nepal, and is a very good part to learn, let's say, to integrating ourselves with the local community and with the local society. And then for us, especially our foreign contractors, after we're doing the job, doing the work, before we left, we want to left two things. One is one good qualified job, and also the second thing is to leave a group of skilled and competent local staff, and they can becoming pillars in the future to supporting the local development of other infrastructure projects to leave the competence in the country. So this is somehow this is some my personal experience and understanding and feeling about Nepal, about, shall I say, doing business over there. So also far is really quite good. In the moment we are undertaking another job, still in TIA on phase 2. So the whole thing will be done exactly same as before. It's moving. So unfortunately, right now this one thing was a big barrier right now. I think for every country is like that. This COVID issues, so we cannot start. So to moving the people in and out and so on, even the materials in and out. So this really a very big challenge. So this is somehow this is one of the issue. I mean, for every country, but particularly for Nepal, what I see the news every day right now. Every day there are big numbers coming up. So personally, what I see is the government, if you try to develop, moving the economic, continue to grow after this the pandemic, and so right now government really need to take some measures to managing about these travel restrictions to allow to, or to give the possibility to make the business going on. So this is also one of the troubles for ahead of us. Besides that one, then we're also facing some difficulties as a foreign company working in Nepal last year. I mean, so since Nepal is still, like say, in developing mode to move up from last 3 years, there was quite a big improvement. But again, still there were some issues which have the impact on the business people from other countries. I give some simple example. Let's say the problem, the difficulties what they have. For example, when the country government was setting up the tax regulations, but since the country is in the developing mode, so you improve and then to improve all the tax regulations and so on. But during these changes, we fully understand this one. But once this tax regulation have certain changes, the implementation, let's say how to supporting the foreign company to smoothly adopt to that one. So some more transparency or some pre-notice and so on. So this one could be very helpful for the foreign company to understanding better. For example, right now we're facing the issue is now there was tax policy at that time, in the time when we signed the contract, would describe in the contract. But during the execution, the national tax policy have some modifications, some upgrading of some changes. I mean, it's fine, but this how to transit from the contract to executing the contract due to two different tax policy in different period. So somehow the foreign company really needs some support or some more transparent clarification or more efficiently handling by the government side to us, which can move the things more smoothly. So we understand that, the country is in a growing mode, a developing mode. There are more and more policy coming up, more modernized, but that's fine. For us, we fully accept that one, but just how to make them more efficient, more transparent. And this will be somehow a little bit challenge for us over there. And for example, and then another thing is now, because the topic of today is to talk about the foreign aid and then perspective and some problems and so on. Again, is the national policy for the foreign exchange is still, I mean, for every sovereign country, it's the same thing. It should be managed by central bank on the foreign currency exchange. That's no problem. But the situation what we're facing is kind of efficiency. For example, when you prepare documents, you need to release some payment to the like say to supplier, for example, in other countries. But how to get this approval done out of central bank? I mean, the process is fine. It's no problem. We are happy with that. But efficiency wise, is somehow this really a little bit too slow, to be honest. As one for the business life, efficiency is somehow still have a lot of space to improve and then to be more attractive, which can make the foreign investment or foreign aid things, this kind of foreign enterprise feel a little bit more comfortable. So this is two example what I give. And then another thing is I have to say is I can share you one of the small video. Is for example, Nepal is in, as I said before, the transportation is one of the key element for let's say for the country, for the economics. And right now I have the one side a good experience in Nepal on the air travel, but one side I have a very bad experience on the road transportation in Nepal, especially from the border between China and Nepal and to Kathmandu on this road. So gentlemen, then if we, I would like to share with you about how is the, I don't know, you guys have been see over there or have experience, but I can show you a short video to see how is the situation of the road. Yeah, let me see here. So, okay, Chairman, I mean, this is the road between the Chinese border and to Kathmandu. So last year when shipping some heavy machinery over there. So, I mean, the road transportation in Nepal is one of the very critical element in the moment because it's a mountain country. The road over there is what I believe, personally, I believe this is one of the key objective in the moment to connecting people, connecting the materials, connecting the goods, and so on. So overall, I think it'll be over time. But overall, let's say as a foreign company, we are very happy and we are very happy to work in Nepal, and we are like to continue working in Nepal. And even in the future, we can bring the investment to doing some beauty model and so on. So we have a quite strong confidence over there. But all of this one is what I see as a foreigner look at Nepal right now is I have a lot of our local staff, and then I can feel they have the desire to gain a better life over there. So they work
Excuse
hard, they
me,
learn. Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Could you
Sorry.
kindly complete within 2 minutes?
Yeah, we will do. We will do.
Thank
We
you.
will do.
Thank you
Yeah.
very much. Thank you very much.
Yes. So the first thing is now the thing is now we see our local staff they have the desire for the better life. What they need is now they need the competence, they need the guidance, they need the vision and skills. And then the second thing, second conclusion is now, with under the stable government, we really expect the top leaders have a very clearly vision and objective and pushing things, making everything more efficient, and then back to the normal business life. And then for sure in this case, and then I mean all the foreign investment, foreign loan, foreign aid, and so on, they can see the improvement of the country, and then they are really eager to come in and then to do more things over there. So overall, that's thank you very much, gentlemen. This is a little bit shorter experience what we had as a foreigner in Nepal. So thank you very much. This is the final of my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tim. Now, I would like to request Honorable Lilamoni Pokhrel to deliver a speech. Please unmute your audio.
Okay, thank you. Do you listen me?
Yes, yes.
Yes, of course, thank you. Honorable Chairman, respectable program coordinator, distinguished speaker, and participant in webinar, good afternoon. I'm not an economist, neither I'm an economist nor a diplomat, but I am only a political worker. I have experiences on the field working, and the problem arisen in the field, I have got an experience, so that on that prospect I will speak my experience on this matter. First of all, I would like to deliver my big thanks to him or her who organized this program. I have been invited in webinar titled Prospects and Problems of Foreign Aid in Nepal. It is a very important, long-term, effective, directly concerned to the people, the economic development policy strategy of government. It is unavoidably related matter to socio-political economic diplomacy. It has been a common attitude that how much more donation or loan or investment could bring to the country, that is called the successful diplomatic mission. Is it true? Is it true? I didn't think so. It is a sectorial idea. The best measurement is only the positive output, that is betterment of the life of the broad masses, and reduction or elevation of poverty, safeguard the nation and the sovereignty, as well as the development of state capital. If no system and no government do not follow the principle of the self-reliance, utilizing the domestic resources such as the property of diversity, natural products, mines, minerals, water resource, national capital and human capital, as well as know-how that cannot stand with own foot. External assistance is only the supporting factor to accelerate development. I just mentioned the one line in your concept paper, the second line. It is recognized that aid is an important factor for economic growth, either as a grant, a gift, or in loan. Beyond this, broad masses oriented political system, state leadership, far-sighted visionary outlook, territory and population, proper planning, action-oriented instrument are the major factors of economic development of a country. For instance, after the October Revolution in China, while constructing socialism, Tachai agriculture project had been a legend to the socialist construction without any foreign aid in China. This was an example for initial stage of construction of socialism. Scientific innovation and technology enhancement plays an important role in economic development of a country. If we depend on the assistance of foreign country, there are negative remedies. Yes, Nepal got assistance from 1952 as Colombo plan in education.
There must be some problem with Mr. Lilamani Pokhral. Maybe his internet is not working. Let's wait for some time. I'd like to request you all to wait for some time.
Okay.
Yes, his internet has gone, I think. Yeah,
Oh, yes, it's back now.
it must be the problem of internet.
Hello,
Hello,
Suriji?
yes.
Yes.
Yes. Should I start?
Yes, yes, please.
Thank you. I read the concept paper that you presented before. I think in this concept paper, I have summarized something. The essence of the concept paper is concentrated on your questionnaire. And text above is explanation of scenario and clearance about this. So I would like to say about the questioner. From question first, you have asked what actually may be the intention of the donor to provide aid the countries is need. In this question, I have an answer. Many of the donors, I have said here, many of the donors. I stress here, my stress is here, many of the donors. Intention is focused to detract the class struggle in Nepal, in our society, and make obliged to them. They wanted to make the society, they wanted to make the country and the people donor-oriented and make global ally. Some donors have mission to religious expansion and to get valuable resources. Some are trying to make a strategic partner, as few only have a cordial relation according to people's aspiration and have no any unwanted interest against Nepal. The second one, why do the donor share their money? It is because of love manifested to the recipient country. In this question, I have an answer. They have certain interest, either global strategic alliance or important resources utilized, but no love of recipient of our country. The third one, can Nepal sustain without aid? Yes, can, because Nepal is a most beautiful and resourceful country in the world, having diversity as her not reachable, not shareable property. Only there is a lack of good management of the state. The fourth one is that, is it true that the corruption increased extensively as well intensively after the flow of the foreign in Nepal? The fourth one is a huge amount of donation goes back to the donors' pocket in the name of consultant, export, management, tax-free, etc. The fifth one, why Ministry of Foreign Affairs does not try to ensure effective use of foreign and simply paying attention to the regulation and controlling it? The answer is that it is due to a policy of corruption, and a part of corruption and lack of transparency. The sixth one, if a large amount of grant or loan is consumed by foreign consultant, is it feasible for Nepal to accept it? No need of accepting grant or loan, because if the amount of grant or loan is allocated in the name of a country like Nepal, but the huge bulk of money goes back to the donor's hand itself. The debt is handed over the country. The seventh question is that is there any least developing country in the world which has tangibly benefited significantly to the targeted communities? The seventh, neither I have seen or heard that any poor country and the poor country of the livelihood of the country came into the rich country in the world, only they have come into a rich country by the faithful leadership, discipline, and hard labor of the people. It means the people of the country who does hard labor, who are faithful to their leader, and the leader also are to the faithful to the country. In that sense, the country can develop only if we go to follow only the assistance of foreign. If we depend on the foreign assistance only, we cannot develop our country. The last one, the eighth, the question 8, what are the experiences of foreign donors in the investor working in Nepali project? As I have seen, I have listened in previous speakers' experience in Nepal, and some donor say Nepal is a country of unaccountable state system and porous in developmental expenditure. But some are happy in imposing to the assistance and the loans with many unlawful conditions. Last but not the least, Nepali people are simple, honest, brave, and laborious, but the rulers have been not been announced accountable to the people. Their virtue is forgiveness. There should be some parameters according to ads, loans, or any kind of foreign assistance, foreign investment. They are principal or obtaining donation, debt, selection of priority and need of the people of the nation, avoid condition against national interest, use of Nepalese exports, try to borrow advanced technology which is favorable to the great mass, corruption control and power, corruption control and proper punishment, follow up the system. I think some principles and some assistance, variation of assistance are here. Types of donation that we have getting up to now, that is priority up to the people, national contribution, acceptance of participants of the people in terms of condition of donors. But Nepal is getting donation or loan with the priority of donor and their terms of condition. The characters of foreign assistance are the financial assistance, that is donation, soft loan, and loan with hard interest. Second one, the technical assistance, know-how assistance, the training of training for trainees, scholarship of technical education. The third one, material assistance. The fourth one, different educational plans. The fifth one, system development assistance, administrative system, educational system, agricultural system, transportation system, health system, banking, management and finance, budgetary system, forestry and husbandry, etc. And now I would like to say about our position and the challenges of foreign assistance. foreign aid, Nepal is a very beautiful country with so many diversities. The diversities are the property of Nepal. The diversities are the property of Nepal, so that it is very difficult to say why Nepal is going to be a backward country. Some foreigner had expressed a few years ago, I never had seen such beautiful country in the Nepal in the world. He visited Nepal and he saw only Kathmandu and Pokhara Valley. And that after that, we asked him, how did you feel? How did you see Nepal? And he answered us, I never seen such beautiful country in the Nepal, but why Nepalese people are so poor? He asked us. We are very shy to say that it is our misfortune. That what is the misfortune? Then it is due to mismanagement of state. So that we have to manage our state. We have to manage our good management for the future, so that our well-wisher who want to make a cordial relation with Nepal and a better friendship and without any reservation in external politics, in global politics, just only they like to cooperate Nepal to facilitate Nepalese development prospects, development program. Other than some countries, some are imposing very unusual and unwanted conditions for Nepal in their assistance, whether the assistance may be loan or the grant. So that we have a big challenge, how we make self-reliancing economy and develop our country. This is the challenge, and we have perspective also. What perspective we have? We have manpower, we have natural beauty, we have diversity, we have so many things, and we have good friends in the world, so that it is a very big challenge that even in now global politics contradiction is dragging towards them. Nepal also, nowadays, Nepal has been a part of Asia, Indo-Pacific strategy. Nepal has been a part of Indo-Pacific strategy, though our policy, our constitution, our foreign policy doesn't permit to be aligned in external military and non-military political alliance also. So that it has been a great challenge to us to be an independent country, to make an independent economy, so that this has been a great challenge also. In this context, we have to be independent country and independent economy and we have to achieve we have to achieve the goal of the aspirations of the people of Nepal. So that this is the phenomena of the perspectives and the problems of Nepal by the foreign aid, so that Nepal is now is a landlocked country. Though it is a landlocked country, but we can sustain ourselves without external interfere. But we have been dragging on this problem of global contradiction. It is our challenge, it is our difficulty, so that we need a national unity to fight against our national interest, against our interest of the people, against our aspiration of the people. It is my observation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lilamani Pokhrel. Now it is time for the question answers session. And I have got 2 questions on my mobile. One question goes to Tim. Mr. Tim, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. One question is, don't you think there is vested interest of the donor country behind allocating grants or loans?
Sorry, can you please, pardon?
Don't you think there is vested interest of the donor country behind allocating grants or loans?
So, to be honest, I didn't understand this question precisely. What do you mean behind what?
I mean to say, the questioner might have asked, the donor country has some vested interest after allocating grants or loans.
Yes, again, just my personal opinion on that one is the developing country in the developing mode. At that time is now there was some certain good part from for the donation or loans and so on. So because one country in the start to develop certainly needs some certain support. One is the financially, but this financially is not one of the key for substantial development. It's just a kind of a short period of the injection to supporting, to give the trigger to facilitating these kind of things. So of course, the donor or even the loan and so on, they have some certain interest behind that one is, let's say for example, let's say for the business people, foreign countries, when they want to generate a business in the country which is donated to, but first this country need to reach some level on some foundations. For example, like at least the business is started. When the business started, then in the long run, this could be when the economics grows up. Definitely, there were more supply required and more projects coming on, and there will be like long-term like business interest behind that one. So, I mean, there was 2 type of loans. One is the G2G things. It is a separate issue. But let's say for the loan, commercial loan, which means from the foreign commercial loan and so on, the purpose is now to consider in the long run to developing business. But let's say, but in the long run, not in the short term. But how to gain the long run is now to short period to supporting the country, make the big financial injections to support to build up the economic development foundation. So this is somehow, because in all the developed countries experience the same way. Even for China in the past, we have also the World Bank loan and we have Asian Development Bank loan and so on. When your starting point is very low on the entry level, you need certain things to develop. But not in the money, is because it's the opportunity, the knowledge, the competence, and to moving the economic in the right circle.
Okay, thank you. And another question goes to both of you. First of all, let Mr. Lilamani Pokhrel answer this. Do you think joint venture investment is far more better than aid?
Yeah, this is for me.
Yes, for both of you, first of all, you answer.
Yes, I think so. JV is far better than individual investment of any country, of any donors, because there is room to observe the country, what the things are going behind the provision of donation. As I want to say about this. Nowadays, it has been a very debatable question in Nepal. And as you know, MCC, Millennium Challenge Corporation, the agreement between MCC and Nepal is being a very, very disputable question in Nepal, because there are three dimensions of this problem. Though this is a donation, this is assistance, but this project is coming Nepal simultaneously under the coverage of the IPS, Indo-Pacific Strategy. So that Nepal, I already mentioned about this, Nepal's constitution, Nepal foreign policy does not allow to join such type of international alliance. As you know, Indo-Pacific strategy is basically the American security strategy. It has already mentioned. The report of IPS has already mentioned about this. MCC is conducting under the IPS. Though there is no any illustration in that agreement, there is no word of IPS, but the policy, the governing policy of America, it has been propounded in 2002, and the bill was passed in 2004 while George W. Bush Jr. was there. And after the 2001 incident of 11 September, donation policy has been changed, and every donation, every investment is under the coverage of American security interests, American state security. So that in these days also, any type of assistance of Western countries depend on the strategic policy. So that this has been a great dispute nowadays we are facing. And so that I have a conclusion of only unilateral investment is not better than the bilateral JV is better than JV investment is better than unilateral investment. I think so.
Thank you. Thank you very much. This very question goes to Mr. Tim. I would like to repeat the question. Do you think joint venture investment is far more better than aid?
Let's say this depends on the, let's say, was my opinion is on this way. If for the economic growth, for the business and so on, joint venture is much better, because, you know, for the business wise, you have to adopt to the market rules, theory, environment. So joint venture, which combining the foreign, let's say, the fund, competence, experience, and skill, and so on coming in, and then combining with the local knowledge, local skills, and local environment. If this is in a good combination, and this really stick to the really quite mutual, the market, let's say, theory, this is a good thing. That means bring the competence and then the initial fund into the country and to developing. This is a good way. And then for the foreign aid and so on, what I see, I mean, the foreign aid, if putting using, depends on which kind of purpose. If you're putting in, for example, like education, professional training, which means, like I said, to focusing more on the people side, on the local people who gain the knowledge, gain the skill. And these two things combined together, I mean, overall, this will be in the right track.
Thank you. Thank you very much. There is one more question to Mr. Tim. What policy recommendations would you like to highlight for Nepal, if there is any from your side?
No, this is really a big question. You know, how
Yes.
can I recommend as a business people over there? Let's say maybe I just share a little bit of experience with, because I'm Chinese. I know in China from last 30 years, China was developing so quickly. So from policy, but how this becomes, you know, there were a lot of foreign investment in, a lot of joint ventures, and a lot of also the foreign aid on the trainings, education program for the people. I mean, then from the Chinese government side, they were during that period, they're making a lot of special policy to supporting the initiating of the business, the economic growth. For example, they have a specially tax-free zone, or for particular kind of industry, they give some special, I mean, tax policies. And then even for some, let's say to get the people in, to give the, you know, the visa applications, different policies, etc., etc. This is heavily, so I cannot give very precisely which time policy, because this the government authority to do that. But I think there are a lot of experience from China. This could be learned, or could be as a reference for Nepal, to see when you're focusing developing economics, so government could really define some certain policy to support, let's say, the local business growth, and also encouraging the foreign investment coming in. I mean, this is somehow, but this policy for some certain period, this really helps.
Thank you very much. I think we don't have more questions. So I would like to request our chair to deliver his concluding remarks and end the session. Yes, Chair.
Thank you.
Dr. Rishiraj Adhikari, please.
Thank you very much. Today the proceedings were very fast, very important. Good evening, everybody. Good afternoon. The paper presenters, Mr. Lamani Pokhrel, the senior political leader of the ruling party, the Communist Party, and Mr. Chen Tianji Tim, the Vice President of the Airport Engineering Corporation, China. Other distinguished persons with expertise and interest in economic, foreign aid, foreign policy, and politics, friends from media, and my colleagues at NIR. Let me express my heartfelt thanks to all of you, and I'm delighted for your active participation and contributions in the preceding deliberations. Extensive views have been shared and much has been discussed this afternoon on use and misuse of foreign aid in Nepal. I would not prefer to repeat it. Let me though share briefly about it. Over the decades, one development slogan pursued another, and Nepal experienced it all as passive participants. The facts were all prepared elsewhere, and we were handed one every 5 years or so, from industrialization to sustainable development, integrated hill development to structural adjustment, import substitution to export-led, basic needs to growth-oriented, trickle down to people first, privatization to poverty alleviation. When the United Nations and the bilateral aid agencies discovered NGOs as the carriers of donor dollars in late 80s, Nepalese immediately conjured them out of the thin air to assess the money which began flowing from the particular tap. The Nepali bureaucracy stood by meekly as the donors decided among themselves who would become the lead agency in this sector or that. When the donors proposed that they divided up the country among themselves so that Nepal could develop better, we said fine and allowed the balkanization of national development. The Canadians chose a chunk of the Western Karnali region, the Germans spread their legacy in the central Gandaki zone, and the British concentrated their efforts in the eastern region. So far, I was quoting Mr. K.M. Dixit. Yes, foreign aid is very important for overall development of a poor country like Nepal, which is suffering from foreign currency crunch as it has negligible export potential and has quite trade deficit with the development partners. However, foreign aid makes the donors, we are compelled to make geopolitical surroundings, China and India. Aid is good when it is received on our own terms, based on our own development plan, without compromising our national interest. Aid is good when it does bring corruption as its byproduct, which usually happens. Aid is good when it supports the basis of our overall national development, that are mega projects and basic development infrastructure such as hydropower, transport and communication systems, irrigation and tourism. So this is all I wanted to share with you today. Once again, I thank you all and close this important webinar. We will meet soon over other important issues. I request for your support in NIR's future endeavors. Have to put the sign and we'll meet after a couple of weeks. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now it is time to say goodbye. So let me say goodbye and namaste to you all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Namaste. Thank you.
Thank you.